this record low of -50 that was set back in June 2008. The figure is lowest in the Visayas, followed by Mindanao, Metro Manila, and the rest of Luzon. The study was conducted during the first week of May using mobile interviews. Malacanang adds that the result should have been worse, given the challenges brought by the COVID-19 crisis. Meanwhile, the Asian Development Bank is also seeing a gloomier picture for the country's growth, at least for 2020. The Manila-based lender now sees the economy shrinking by 3.8%, a reversal of its previous 2% growth forecast in April. Apart from being the lowest growth forecast yet among international lenders, ADB's projection is also far worse than the government's expected contraction of 3.4%. The ADB revised its outlook on the back of a slowdown in both household consumption and investments. It also believes that the contraction in the global economy will continue to drag external trade, tourism, and remittances. Some senators are throwing their weight behind the ombudsman's probe into issues involving the health department. May Los Baños with the details.
Under the Bayanihan law, the health department has the flexibility to procure everything they need to fight COVID-19 without having to undergo bidding. But this, says Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, comes with the responsibility of buying items at a reasonable price. The lawmaker welcomes the ombudsman's initiative to launch an investigation into the alleged irregularities committed by health officials, including Secretary Francisco Duque III. He says it's about time that the ombudsman looked into supposed anomalies in the procurement of PPEs for healthcare workers.
Masakit to para sa ating lahat dahil naghihirap na tayo. Yung kakaunting binayad natin sa gobyerno, napapakinggan natin na pupunta pa sa mga supplier na hindi maayos dahil nga sa DOH.
For Gatchalian, Secretary Duque lacked foresight when it came to dealing with the health crisis.
Secretary Duque was given a lot of authority and a lot of leeway to suggest to the President on what measures we should take to address the potential pandemic. At that time, potential pa lang. Clearly, this is a health matter. Ito mga nangyayari natin economically, ano na lang to kumbaga, resulta to ng health problems natin.
And while the ombudsman is doing its probe into issues surrounding the DOH, Gatchalian thinks that Duque should take a leave of absence, especially now that the bulk of the work right is on the shoulders of the task force.
At the very least, so that magiging impartial investigation. Obviously, you can influence the information that the ombudsman will request from the agency.
Other senators like Franklin Drilon also support the probe against Duque and his agency. He said the people have the right to exact accountability and transparency from government officials because the lapses they committed put the nation at risk. On the other hand, Senator Ping Lacson hopes this time around the investigation will find those liable and be made accountable for taking advantage of the COVID-19 crisis. Reporting for News 5, May Los Baños, we are One News.
The health department's embattled chief, however, still enjoys the president's trust. Spokesperson Harry Roque says President Rodrigo Duterte is confident that DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III can answer all of the allegations being thrown against him.
The President has time and again expressed his continuing trust and confidence po kay Secretary Duque. And kampante naman po ang Presidente na masasagot po ni Secretary Duque lahat po yung mga aligasyon sa Ombudsman.
Roque clarified that it was neither him nor Secretary Duque who asked Dr. Tony Leachon to resign from the National Task Force against COVID-19. He added that in fact, Duterte himself had also questioned Leachon's critical remarks.
Nanggaling naman po kay Presidente na bakit nagsasalita ng ganito itong si Leachon. So let me correct you, Dr. Leachon. Hindi po ako, hindi si Secretary Duque. Mismong Presidente po noted that you should not be doing what you were doing. It was a declaration of the President himself.
The Labor Department is doubling its efforts to send OFWs home as quickly as possible, including setting a 5-day limit for those staying in quarantine facilities. To give us updates, we have Jenny Dongon reporting live from Mandaluyong City. Jenny, I understand that there were a lot of OFWs who were able to go home today. Could you tell us more about this?
Charles, 300 overseas Filipino workers who underwent quarantine and tested negative for COVID-19 were already sent home to their provinces this afternoon.
After arriving back to the Philippines in June 1, this group of over 200 seafarers from Barbados underwent a 14-day quarantine in their ship. With their COVID-19 test turning out negative, they are now allowed to go back home. Their leader is on cloud 9 now that he'll finally see his family in Quezon after a month of waiting.
Nagtutulungan ho kami, nagkakaroon kami ng pagtutulungan sa mental, physical, spiritual na level para maging strong yung aming faith na malalampasan namin lahat.
Like him, Bing, who is 5 months pregnant, had to undergo a 14-day quarantine at a hotel in Manila after arriving from Ukraine. She wanted to give birth in the country, and now she'll finally make her way home.
Ako madali ako mahaway, mga ganon. So, dasal lang. Wala, nagdadasal ako, maingatan ako.
The Labor Department, together with other agencies, are now working double time to send home the remaining OFWs who are stuck at quarantine facilities in NCR. To date, Dolly has sent home around 53,000 OFWs. New IATF protocols require OFWs to stay in facilities for a maximum of 5 days.
Kaya wag na po kayo mag-alala, yung mga darating, 5 days ang maximum stay nyo sa Metro Manila. We will bring you home immediately. Yun ang ating patakaran ngayon.
The agency is also in talks with local government units. OFWs won't have to be quarantined for another 14 days upon arrival.
Kaya pag natapos kayo dito ng swabbing, negative kayo, pwede na kayong agad umuwi. At doon, siguro yung mayor nyo o yung governor nyo, itetest lang kayo minsan, libre na kayo. Ayun. Hindi na kagaya dati na 14 days ko ma-quarantine dito. Pagdating mo doon, 14 days din.
Dole expects the arrival of some 16,000 OFWs by the end of June. Belly assures a faster quarantine process by administering COVID-19 tests in 2 to 3 days only.
Charles, Dolly will also extend cash assistance to the repatriated OFWs. They can receive 20,000 pesos through Dole's repatriation program. And if they want to start business while staying here in the country, they can borrow 100,000 pesos up to 1 million pesos for their capital. Charles.
All right, thanks for that, Jenny. That was Jenny Dongon. More stories after a short break. Keep it here on One News. Gerard, could you tell us more about the situation over there?
Charles, some 150 individuals are taking shelter here at the Quezon Memorial Circle. It's been over a month since the Quezon City government took them in after the capital was placed under a community quarantine.
Raquel has been taking refuge at the Quezon Memorial Circle for over a month now. She arrived in Metro Manila just a couple of days before the lockdown in March to process documents at a government agency. Now she has no means to return home to Aurora due to lack of public transportation.
Nagtatsaga lang ako muna sa karton, sa sahig. Kasi lalo na pag umuulan ng bumagyo, basang-basa talaga ako.
More than 20 of the locally stranded individuals at the QC Circle are indigenous peoples from Visayas and Mindanao. Arnold Amanobo from Surigao worked briefly as a construction worker in QC but lost his job due to the pandemic.
Gusto na po ng makauwi kasi una-una wala trabaho talaga po dito, wala kaming bahay.
The stranded individuals said they are being fed 3 times a day and are provided with basic necessities. The place also undergoes regular disinfection. Personnel from the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples visited last night to check their condition. The Commission vowed to find ways to bring them back to Visayas and Mindanao. Meanwhile, QC government social workers said they are coordinating with various LGUs to help bring home the stranded individuals. Last week, they were able to send 7 individuals home to Central Luzon, but they encountered challenges as soon as they arrived.
Pagdating ho namin doon, naglabasan po yung mga tao sa community, pinagbabato po kami, pero siguro dahil ayaw lang din nila mahawa or magkaroon ng cases doon po ng COVID sa lugar nila.
Charles, social workers from Quezon City are hoping that the national government will be able to provide resources to be able to help those stranded individuals to be able to go to Visayas and Mindanao. Charles.
Thank you, Gerard de la Peña. That was Gerard reporting live from Quezon City. The operations of provincial buses will remain suspended in Metro Manila due to challenges in securing local clearances. Brit Swan Singh, senior consultant to the Transportation Department, says buses need to secure prior approval from all local government units where they will be passing through before they will be allowed to ply the roads.
Hanggat hindi nangyayari yun, that's also in coordination with the ILG, yung provincial bus operation will continue to be suspended.
For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com to stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.